What's going on, guys? Time for another YouTube recap. So, another fantastic day here. As we posted on the X, I would trade the JOLTS data. Unfortunately, I didn't get to do the recording I wanted to do. I was deep into the trade here, but that's okay. So I'm going to go to the intraday here, and we called the short target on the gap, and we also called the bottom of the day. I said I wasn't going to go too much past a certain 0% fib. So we had a pretty good Discord day here, not even pretty good, a really good Discord day here with a lot of the call outs here. So good examples here when we go through our Discord, a lot of talented people. We give out lots of sentiment analysis. We always post our Express P&Ls between our groupings here. We did about 8,400 on all Express accounts today. And then what do we do? Yeah, we broke down GP tag shies and a couple of little calls there. Just small examples of lots and lots, of pre-market discording. So let's get into some of the fun moves we've seen today. So we had a couple different over-unders. Okay, we're going to stick with the QQQ. I really wanted to see this guy play out today. And with more looming Trump tariffs, my assumption was getting a kind of like a base, little fresh low peak on the daily and the continuation. If you watched the last YouTube video, we said if it does continue down, we actually covered this on some of our lives. For further predictions, we have the 9/11 candle. Okay, so this is a very unique candle. If you want to know why these are unique, we have a bunch of the different live streams. You can go back, check those out, and it'll tell you for the last 3 videos, it'll tell you exactly why these types of candles are important. So if we fib out the high low of the daily 9/11 here, look to your right, we will see that that was the bottom of the day. And that's what I picked right here, was about 469.50 or so. So if you look at it at the intraday here, I told my crew today, the last trade I gave them was the bounce off 469.50 back to the 100 EMA VWAP. That was it. So as we came down in here, I said, guys, it probably won't close under here. This will be about the lowest point, 469.50, so on and so forth. If you look back, peek up a little bit here, it did just dip slightly into that level, snap back as expected. That is a first tag Fibonacci on the 9/11 candle on the daily, way back where we just drew it. So 469.50 here holds. No big deal. We're going to see a pop and then continuation. CPI is everything. So tomorrow we're going to get some monster data. So we're not going to do too many predictions today, but I will go over JOLTS and how we traded it and how we got the downside prediction. So to give you the bottom of the market play here, that was it. I said it wasn't going to close under 469.50. That'd be about as low as it went. It slipped a tiny bit, but of course, rip rallied back as expected. So what do we do with the intraday jobs candle and why that prediction happened? Well, 9 a.m. was the JOLTS. And for me, I like to fib out the 5-minute or the 1-minute, all depends, to the high-low side. And I'm going to tell you a couple secrets on why this candle was so important on this recap. And that's about it. We're going to have some bigger stuff for CPI. So intraday here, 9 a.m. hits, right? Beautiful little 9 a.m. And this little target comes from, or not target, this little fib comes from the JOLTS high-low. And of course, whenever that comes out, 9 a.m. Central for me, it could be different for you guys, but the 1-minute candle here gets fibbed out to the high-low and pointed to the downside for the extension. Why is that? Well, when a candle's created on a news blip like this, we look for the top or bottom side of the Fibonacci structure that it hits. So if this is the candle open, we know that the top side above the golden pocket was already hit, right? Because this is always our GP. If you look at the second action candle here, you notice that it pushed outside, but it hit that whole top range, right? So it went past the data candle's highs, and then it flopped to GP, right? So a lot of the times you'll see me scalp these opening candles. So a candle that pushed up, and closed up here, I start shorting on those pushes, right? Micros. And then on the way back down, expected to come back to GP because of that no GP tag. So this candle opened, the second one, or the first one rather, after data. And look where that open was, right? The open pushed. So I expected this whole JOLTS data candle to falter to the GP. So short, broke back inside 476.48, which is the top of data, and slammed into the GP and melted down. Okay, so a couple of different scalps there that made our 8,400, and then we had runners to the downside. So as you see here, if we get continuation, we were calling under moving averages and under VWAP. VWAP and 100 EMA are my two favorite watches here. And as if you notice, again, just a single fib is pretty much all we played today, besides the 100 EMA. And on the crack, it went down to the 1618. And the general rule of this stuff right here, right? The general rule is where we come back from the jobs data candle hits the 1618. So once we break out side of the candle, we look for the extension. And we were assuming downside because we already had the top side of the data filled, right? So again, the candle creation and the second candle hit above the golden pocket and sucked up all that data between 475.31 and 476.48. And generally speaking, they fall after that into the GP. So we did a little scalp. It might be look little on the screen, but even with the micros, this was 68, 70 points, something like that. And then when it breaks outside the data candle to the downside, which is under the 100 in this case, because the extension is 1618, we look for that tag. So we had to bounce off the 1618 back to the golden pocket to confirm resistance, and we just melted under that VWAP 100, and we called short for the day and said, well, if it's under the golden pocket, like we called on our last YouTube, so remember, this is yesterday's high-low, as we discussed we would do, and we seen it push into the GP and then fail, right? Interestingly enough. But what are the key points on why this failed and bounced? Well, we talked about the 911 candle already at the tippity top here. And then we talked about the really nice looking JOLTS Fibonacci here. So we came to the 1618 GP and boom to the 2618. And then it bounced where we said it would at the 911 candle. Now, one of the things you could take away here is, I don't know if this is an exact tag or not. We'll extend it to the right. It might have been a shy, and that's why we actually came down a little bit farther, which it was. So again, we fibbed 1 minute high-low, and then notice it just came in. If I zoom in super close here, there is no actual tag on the 2618. So we ran away for a little bit, came all the way back to GP of the data again, right? Formed resistance, hit the 2618 this time, and launched itself all the way back to the tippity top of the golden pocket, okay? So let's talk golden pockets real quick on the daily, because this is how we always find our markers. So yesterday's high-low is the golden fib that's right here, and we talk about this every day. It's for new members here or new subscribers. I know you guys are like, I know. So yesterday's high-low in the gold, and if we hold above yesterday's lows, which in this case was 468.66, we look for the push to the golden pocket, right? And then if we have some outside help where, let's say it broke under 469.50, right? And then started washing into the 911 golden pocket, we would have played that for a shy of the GP, and we only would have went short outside again of that candle. So we could have only looked short under 468 for heavy progression down, which was not likely at all. So we called for all longs. For us, we had major support on an algorithm fib here as well. Let's talk about that real fast if you guys missed that. The longs that we got going on are going to come back to here. They're all the longs, hopefully after CPI being the catalyst here, we're going to come back to 488, 489, 491, so on and so forth. And then as soon as we're over the GP in which we had made from yesterday, that's going to be the fly. Because this algo right here has no GP pointed to the downside, okay? And the green Fibonacci that persists on, this is why there's a tag. It says major support for long. And we had that for right here. So if the market starts to close above 473.72, you're going to start to see those moves retrace the green Fibonacci's from that pre-market algo, which means if we start to hold 473.72, she's going to rocket ship up to, can't see it, 480.47, 480.47. So let me back up one more time so you can see that. So this is the algo, right, from the fib pre 1618 in the green, 2618, 423.6, okay? We obviously didn't make it down to the 423.6, so it started catching support on the daily GPs, not the algo, so we use those together. And then we look for support to be had on the Fibonacci. So 2618 becomes support, walks back to the 1618, which is here, then walks back to the 100. So hopefully CPI is the catalyst now. It's pretty much the only one that is going to allow us to get all the way back up here, right? So in that case, we have these fibs pointed to the upside. So let's talk targets again. We have a no GP tag daily candle right here at 3.7. Okay. So if CPI is the catalyst, we're going to hold that doji. We're going to launch ourselves through the gold, and we're going to head up right to that 10 SMA daily. And the candle could look something like this, where you hold the prior and it goes right to the 168, the full flush. That could be the CPI, right? Because we are at historical levels of puts. The volatility index is just absolutely bonkers, busting into the standard deviation weekly daily +3, which means on the deviation that we use here on the 1 year, it very rarely, has that super big push. But remember, this was a grind up to these standard deviations, not an impulse move like we've seen before. So With that being said, with record amount of puts being held right now, a record amount of fear being held right now across the markets, is CPI going to be the catalyst that finally gets us back tested some of these sports? Well, let's hope so. We'll try to trade it live, but that is the prediction. I think CPI is going to hold today's body. We're going to get support above 474. That CPI is going to shoot us back up to that 10 SMA daily. Okay. That's the long bias scenario. If it does not, CPI will break the 911 top, which is 469.50. We just talked about in the beginning of the video, and it will come to the GP of 911 and the 423 of said algo pre-market fib that we just went over. Right? That's it. That's the prediction. It's literally over under 469.50. We hold this for that CPI. We're going up to that 10. We're starting to backtrace. If we break 469.50, we're going to end up into the GP, maybe even lower. So we'll see. We're going to see what the catalyst brings for CPI. That's the prediction. It's over under pretty much the doji body and our 474. And if we obviously CPI is going to be pre-market, so you're not going to sit here and be like, okay, we're going to go long now. No, we're going to get the CPI candle, and whether most likely the move is going to be, it's going to be gapped. So it's not like we're going to long it right now, just hope for the best in CPI and it's going to come up. It's not a trade call like that. What we're going to do is we're going to see the CPI candle being made. It's going to be some monster candle, just like the JOLTS was today in the pre-market here. And it could just be something like that. Or like we said, under 474, like that. And what I do is I don't care what the candle, I don't care what, no predictions before. I'm going to let it make the giant candle, whatever it wants to do, down or up. I'm going to fib out the candle and I'm just going to play inside or outside. That's it. Every day. That's how pro trading works. If you want to see me do this live and win a Top Step account, comment on this video and join us on the live. I'm going to give away 2 accounts on Saturday's class. And then we should have a banger of a class here, right? So let me move this over right here. There we go. Holy cow. Sorry, excuse me. The link's in the description if you want to trade me, do this live. Sorry, I'm the worst influencer ever. The link's in the first description. If you want to just join on the YouTube lives, please shoot me a comment on what you want to cover, because I would love to cover for free for you. I don't want you guys sitting here thinking like, oh man, I got to pay for a service fee. I'm glad to do it on YouTube if we can get a lesson out of it, okay? So if you got questions about any of this kind of stuff, comment. I'll make shorts on it. I'll make any videos you guys want. So we'll see you guys on the CPI. It looks like the futures are coming back down a little bit here. We got a 5-minute gap here. I'll show you guys what we're playing right now just for the end of the video. We got a 5-minute gap here. It was pushing a little bit on our 2 separate account groupings here. See, they're all express right now. And we had a algorithmic 5-minute gap. I'm not going to go into it here, but I call these free trades. It's kind of like a guarantee here. Wait, why is this a single account? It's supposed to be linked. Oh, I must have entered a single there. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that wasn't linked. That's why. Okay, no big deal. We got I have 1 account to activate. We had 9 accounts right here. So, yeah. Well, on the way down, we're going to fill this right here. Should set us up with at least, I don't know, a few $100 here or there. We'll see what it is. But the 5-minute gaps here, especially in futures, I've never seen it not fill. So we had to take a little bit. We went through a little bit of pain on this one because of that squeeze fest. It needed a 3-up, but no big deal. So let's go over that little trade here real quick at the end. So futures open snapped up here. That's impulse move 1, impulse move 2, impulse move 3. Okay. Market loves 3s. Okay. And it did leave a gap right here on the minute chart, but oddly enough, that gap was also on the 5-minute, as you see right here on this express count or on this Top Step X. So with this little dude right here, the 5-minute gap, I don't think I've ever seen in the history of ever not fill. So as this thing started to press back up higher, 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 I'm like, well, I'm just going to kind of short the pops and get the best average. Got entered in a little early. No big deal. So we're just going to sit here and wait to see if these fill. Now, the 5-minute candle's forming right here. What time is it? 18:03, 6:03. Okay, so for now, the new 5-minute candle might be the one to push us back down. We just shied that 10 SMA a little bit there. But yeah, we're just gonna let this bounce back and around and should fill the algos here a little bit. But you can see on the 5-minute chart too, we did have that 3-up that's turning around. So again, here's the bottom of that base, 1, then that open, 2, and 3. And the market after 3 generally has at least a back test to some of these supports here. As she goes flipping around, flying around, do whatever. So, but some of the bounces here too are imbalances. What do they call them? Fair value gaps, as some of you guys play. We call them no fib tags here for the Fibonacci and sequencing of volume, but we do have a couple of these too. 2 big ones at least here. So 1, 2, 3. And whenever those come in 3s too, it usually comes into the first pocket, scams, does the lower high, and then comes down. So all you're looking for right now is the hold through the tiny bit of pain in some of these small accounts. And some of these are brand new. What are they at right now? Minus 200 bucks on the link. And some of these are, like I said, we're just slow playing a lot of this stuff, and we got to go kind of slow. And unfortunately, it's like, especially with the tiny accounts like this, you got to be very liquid, and you got to understand that one click is 100 points and 2 clicks is 50 on NQ. That's your stop out. That's the accounts below it on those, because we trade NQ a lot, and that's, unfortunately, when it's this tiny, you got to get these really good algorithmic entries. You got to get these things set up correctly, or you're not going to get a account build here. You can use MES, but then you're stuck taking like, 15, 20, 30 trades sometimes on MES, scalping 60, 80, 100 bucks. And sometimes there's a better market than there is, but sometimes there's not. So we do got to be aware of the little bits and pieces that kind of are the working parts of these small accounts. And unfortunately, I don't know, there's not there. So we're going to wait for the new 5-minute candle here, and it's going to dump down. It's going to fill this up because of that 3 algo. So here's a 5-minute candle, I think, right? Yep. So 5, you're going to open up into the GP, and you're going to watch this one right here. So what we mean by that is, like, if you were to fib this out right here, you're going to fib out high, low, okay? And then this, I'll scooch it over so you can kind of see. That's just the last 5-minute candle. And it's going to open up in this little GP, slap back around, whatever it wants to do. But what it's going to do is it's going to realize that it doesn't want anything to do with 19,464.25, right? So it's going to be like blip, blip, blip. And it's going to go, oh, okay, I guess. And it's going to go down to fill that gap. Most likely come down to the 1618. But regardless, for us, we're just trying to scalp because of these small accounts. Again, we're at max position size for some of these little baby accounts here. And when you're at max position size, two contracts, you're at 50 points of stop out. So from entry here, we don't want to hold. We don't want to go to a 50-point move to hold through all the way up here into 19,500. Could it happen? Sure. Likely. Not really. Especially with a 3 up, because the algos and dispositions here, you'll see. So I'll let you watch this 5-minute candle play out right here, 19,464.25. That will be your resistance, as long as the algos are playing ball with us here today, which, again, market always does what it wants. So it's not something that, we can predict every single second of every single day. We got a couple different groupings of accounts on there on the expresses. So, yeah, we'll be doing this right quick. Come on. So it's going to just fail into this top GP and a whomp right down. So we did shy that 10 too, which is kind of a good sign. And again, this is top step X, so the moving averages are kind of crap. So we could actually go take a peek at the NQ on TOS. So you can actually get some real indicators, as top step X doesn't know how to do moving averages. And I'll show you the same setup right here. We got the gap indicator and everything else going on here. We'll go on. And here's that 5-minute candle that we're looking at, just like you said right here. So you're going to fail 464.32, and you're going to come back down to back test. And why do we assume that? Well, the opening candle range was kind of weird, and I think this is just top step X scam here, which is just kind of crappy when you bring it to the old table here. But they had a bunch of gaps open. Did they delete them now? Okay, they might have fixed it. Let me put my foot in my mouth here. Oh, there it is right there. There's a 1-minute large gap. Okay, they did fix it. They had a whole bunch of weird candles here at the open. Let me check here. Okay, they did fix it. So the open was all jacked up where it showed a bunch of gaps, and then on Thinkorswim, it showed this right here, actually. So I posted a picture in my chat. I have to go find it, or I mentioned it, one of the two. But yeah, so regardless, this trade is going to work out because of, do a little live trading example here. We have the 5-minute GP tag back, but we hit what? The 2618. So this 5-minute, we fibbed out high-low. It went to the 1618. It went back to the GP like we always like to see it. It went to the 2618. So all it's got to do is fail 19,469 flat. And this is the 5-minute candle to do so. So when this fails, not when, but, or not if, but when, we're going to come back down to the back test of the 100 EMA as well. So you see this 5-minute 100 EMA in the green. Note that we have a no GP tag candle right here that busted right through and created that 5-minute gap here, right? So if you see this candle coming away from the 10, through the VWAP, through the 100 EMA, and then boosting back up to that 2618, you're going to see it kind of falter away from here. Maybe it'll use that doji body, I guess. But regardless, golden pocket stays under here and then rejects, right? And then on the 5-minute chart, you got this 3 up as well. And I would use TOS. We're in the 5, right? Yeah. I'd use TOS, but, 1, 2, we're hoping for a cock back and a 3, and the cock back on the 2 to a 3 piece, because you can play in between the 3 ups. So we're looking at the 1 minute where you've seen that wump, 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 and then it kind of, It can do a mini 3 down on the 1 minute and go, but we're looking for the slingshot on the second. So it's going to open up here, 1, open up 2. It's going to cock back for the next high or low, fill our order, and do whatever it wants to do after that. We don't care. But the 5 minute gap was created right here on that 100 EMA breakthrough. So it just has that plowed up candle, woo, and then it just goes kind of bonkers there to the upside. So 2 things that it absolutely needs is to fail the 2618. And a lot of the times that comes down to the 1618 because fibs walk up, they walk down. So the rejection of 2618 will come back down. And where's that? 19470. So of course that doji reversal too is going to be a really good body to watch to the downside. So that break up 100 needs a back test confirmation. So when you get a candle like this that blows through the 100 EMA and then hits a long target like the 2618 from this bad boy down here, generally speaking, it'll falter at that 2618 and go down. Now, if it scams us, that's the 3 up on the 5 minute, and just the algos aren't playing ball. We stop out, whatever. It's just a trade. So when we come back in, but the up move here is that 1, 2, and then it did pull back and kind of held here. So we're looking for that little fill, and then it can go do whatever it wants. And I have a high sneaking suspicion that we're going to fill that gap on the 5 minute because, well, I know algos better than most people. So we'll bring the screens back over here, watch for the fill here. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. But like I said, it's going to create that lower high, come back down, fill our order. We just had to hold through a little bit of pain, which is fine. You can't freak out. These trades, take time after hours. It's very, 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 very low volume, and it's just it's not fun. So they take some time. But yeah, let's. What am I? ES over here? The hell? Oh, that was weird. I don't have any ES orders on, do I? They're not on the screen, were they? Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm tired. I've been up for a million hours here. So you're starting to see a little volume kick in there. That's the algos trying to drag it down to this 5. Not trying, it will. And of course, on the minute chart, like I said, in between the 5, you're going to see the 3 up 1 minute, and then you're going to see 3 down. 1, 2, 3. And the 3 down on the 1 minute is going to be smaller. 1, 2, 3, right? And then that completes the second leg of the 5 minute we just talked about. So yeah, this lower high will fail out. We'll get down to our target here in a second. We got all the orders right here at 19,451. It's really hard to see up here on the screen for me. I'm blind. But yeah, we shall see. Yep, you can keep this order on for sure. Yep. I got people that come over and trade personally with me that we teach as well. So we'll let this thing spike around a little bit. It's going to blah, blah, blah. It's going to wick down, fill the 5 minute because we know algos better than anybody. So once this algo fills here, it's going to pop down from the fibs, 1, and then it's going to 2 down, fill, and then it's going to continue probably down to some of those, what do you guys like to call them, fair value gaps or whatever. But yeah, nice and easy here. Got a couple accounts that were in on some scalps before, I think. Yeah, this one's up like, this one's up like 200 some bucks here. That has the best entry. I was trying to fumble around and, get the other accounts in the trades, but yeah, doing good here. Yep, keep on. Just keep the limit order on. Yep, no changes. We're teaching while we're trading after hours here because we're getting a 3 down. So sorry it's just taking so long, but we should get a little wick down here. What time is it? 12. So worst case scenario, we got to wait another 2 minutes. So yeah, I don't know. We'll talk a little bit more about the fills that's going to come here. The bad part about this one now, it's going to turn into like a little 10 SMA loop here. Here's the 10 SMA starting to catch up. Luckily, the first candle hit it, so we do actually have an algorithmic 10 hit. So that means candles speak to indicators. And when you see the candles, like when you zoom in really close right here, and notice how like some of these candles never touched the 10 SMA in the blue. Same thing with this candle, got really close but never touched it. This candle did. So I would be detrimentally afraid of this short if I did not get this candle tag, the opening candle of the 10, because this would technically be the first tag of the 10. But we know as algo traders, this is not the first tag of the 10. So we have a chance to slip around down. So within 2 minutes, we'll fill this order on the new 5 minute candle. I can't see anything. 1340. So yeah, about 1 minute and 10 seconds before this order fills. So the new 5 minute candle at worst case scenario will wick down. It's gonna take forever probably because we're streaming it. Would have filled 10 times if we weren't streaming it, kind of funny stuff. But yeah, we can get out whenever. But this order here, again, the 5 minute wick should fill down. Top step is pretty decent fills. I mean, we get some nonsense here and there, but that's every platform. That's everybody. So there's your last little 1 minute hurrah here. Lower high into the GP, turns around, and what do we got? Yep, 50 seconds, still trade completion here. Because the new 5-minute candle will be the one. Because it is holding that 10 SMA now, right? It's not the first tag. We had the first tag right here. So the second time the candle's price action, we shouldn't hold this at all. We shouldn't actually have wicked that in the slightest, because the scam, like if it pushes us out, would be a 3-up on the 5-minute, which again, anything's possible in the market, but just not probable, right? So the open, and I don't know if I want to count this low one here. It's like 1 push from yesterday, and then 2, and then 3. So it's like you do have a 3-up on using yesterday's candle. I don't really like to do that much, because this scam right here, I mean, if she pushes, it's against all odds. I don't see it. It's got pretty much, in my head, a 0% chance to walk away from this algo right here. So again, we're still under the candle, like the one we talked about here, where drew this, blah, blah, blah. And if it 3-up scams, it is what it is. We'll get the stop on here. I don't think we will, but easy peasy. So again, we're staying under that 19, 46439. I'm fucking blind. And the crack out of the 100 there, that's what's going to fill this 5-minute gap. And again, it's just a break over the 100 EMA. And even if it wants to go up, it needs to back test the 100 EMA to confirm trend. And we like to play in between these trends a lot. So let's see, let's get these back over here. We are now on, like I said, 30 seconds into the 5-minute candle I called. So I just called that this 5-minute candle will be the one for the stream, because algos, and we know time so well. So here's your fill. Get down there. So like I said, we had to wait till a new minute, or new 5. Yeah, 1815 there. So this is the new 5 that'll drive the minute chart down to the lows here. Oh, well, there's the top step fills we're talking about. You see that? No offense to top step. I mean, every platform has its issues, but I don't know, man. It looks like a pretty perfect fill to me. I'm just kidding. It doesn't have to activate the order if it doesn't want to. I mean, it's just the wick touching it. We're still going to get it because, again, the gap, I put my close order slightly above, right? So if the wick comes down into the gap to fill, we have a much higher chance, well, guaranteed chance to fill. There's no way it would slip this bad to screw me on a fill that, would only go to 51. We're $1.25 over that. So there's your almost fill. We'll get it right here. It's going to be in this 5-minute candle. We're only 1:44 into this 5-minute candle, so I'm going to sit here and make you guys wait for the whole stream. I'm sorry. We're turning this video into a monster long one. How long are we doing? 27 minutes. It's okay. I know all you guys will just skip to the end. Bwop. All right. Order filled. So as expected there, 5-minute gap filled. 100% of the time, I've never missed that algo in my life. And there's the back test of the 100 as we explained it. Sorry it took so long, but I was right about the 5-minute candle, right? Yeah, we're within 18. Yeah, okay. And that was the fill. And again, once it breaks out of here, it'll go 1618. And even if it wants to continue, 1, 2, 3. And that's what we do here, predictive trading. So welcome to the live trade. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Links are in the description if you want to watch. If not, like, comment. If you want that free Top Step account given away on Saturday, we'll see you then. Trade safe.